Admiral Park Ji-won stood in the Great Council chamber, watching the 12 alien races that ruled the galaxy. The chamber was huge, with seats floating in the air for each species. Some aliens breathed different gases, so each seat had its own bubble of air. The humans had the smallest seat, tucked away in a corner like an afterthought. Ji-won had been Earth's voice in this place for 5 years. He knew every alien face, every strange custom, every weird way they spoke. The Vraxians looked like giant crabs with too many eyes. The Kelthans were tall and thin like walking trees. The Zephyrite floated in tanks of purple gas. All of them looked down on humans. Today felt different. The aliens whispered among themselves. Their translators turned off. Ji-won could not understand their native languages, but their body language told him enough. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The council speaker, a Vraxian named Thector, raised his claw for silence. His voice boomed through the chamber. We call this emergency session to order. Today we discuss Resolution 847 Alpha. Ji-won frowned. He had never heard of this resolution. No one had told Earth about any emergency session. His fingers moved to his communicator, sending a quick message to his team back on Earth. The matter before us today, Thector continued, concerns the reallocation of the Sol system. The words hit Ji-won like a punch to the stomach. Reallocation. That was council speak for taking something away from someone. His hands gripped the arms of his chair. The Vraxian Mining Consortium has discovered rare mineral deposits in the Sol system, Thector explained. These minerals are essential for our hyperspace drives. The council must vote on whether to relocate the human population to make way for mining operations. Ji-won stood up fast, his chair scraping against the floor. What? You cannot just take our home. Earth is where humans come from. We have 4 billion people living there. Several aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. A Kelthan delegate, tall and green like a walking plant, spoke in a voice like wind through leaves. Human Park Ji-won. Your species has only been part of the council for 30 years. You do not understand how these things work. I understand. Perfectly, Ji-won said, his voice getting louder. You want to steal our planet and kick us out. Thector's many eyes fixed on Ji-won. The humans will be given new worlds to colonize. 3 planets in the Kepler sector have been prepared for your people. They are good worlds with clean air and water. Those worlds are not Earth, Ji-won shouted. You cannot just move people, like cargo. Earth has our history, our culture, our ancestors buried in the ground. A floating Zephyrite spoke from its gas tank, its voice like bubbles popping. Sentiment is not logical, human. Your people will adapt. Humans are known for being adaptable. Ji-won looked around the chamber. Not one alien face showed any care for what this meant to humanity. They talked about moving 4 billion people like it was nothing. Like humans were just things to be moved around. I demand Earth gets a vote in this decision, Ji-won said. Of course, Thector replied. All council members get to vote. Humans get 1 vote, same as everyone else. Ji-won felt his heart sink. 12 alien races, 1 human vote. He already knew how this would end, but he had to try. I vote against this resolution, he said loudly. Earth stays with Earth's people. 1 by 1, the alien races voted. Each one voted yes. When the last vote was counted, the result was 11-1. Earth was no longer humanity's home. The resolution passes, Thector announced. Humans have 72 hours to begin evacuation. Procedures. Vraxian mining ships will arrive in 1 week to begin operations. Ji-won could not believe what he was hearing. 72 hours? You expect us to move 4 billion people in 3 days? You do not need to move everyone, a Kelthan said casually. Just the important ones. Scientists, leaders, skilled workers. The rest can stay and work in the mines if they want. The way the alien said it made Ji-won's blood turn cold. They were talking about his people like slaves, like animals. And if we refuse? Ji-won asked. Thector's claws clicked together. Then the Vraxian fleet will clear the planet for mining. We hope it does not come to that. Ji-won understood. They would bomb Earth from space if humans did not leave. His legs felt weak, but he stayed standing. You are making a mistake, he said quietly. Are we? Thector asked. Humans are young and weak. You have no real military. Your technology comes from us. What can you possibly do to stop this? Jiwon stared at the alien for a long moment. Then he turned and walked out of the chamber. Behind him, he could hear the aliens already talking about other business. To them, destroying humanity's home was just another item on their list. In the hallway outside, Jiwon activated his communicator. Dr. Kim Minho's face appeared on the screen, along with Captain Lee Yuna. Both of them were waiting on Earth for news. How bad is it? Minho asked. The worst, Jiwon replied. They voted to take Earth. We have 72 hours before they start bombing. Yuna's face went pale. 72 hours for 4 billion people? They do not care about 4 billion people, Jiwon said. They only want the ones who can work in their minds. Minho was quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly. Then we activate Protocol 7. Jiwon felt something cold settle in his chest. Protocol 7 was a plan they had hoped never to use. A plan made by people who did not trust the aliens as much as Earth's government did. Are you sure? Jiwon asked. They just declared war on humanity, Minho replied. They just do not know it yet. Yuna spoke up. I will start moving our people to the safe zones. How long do we have, really? Start now, Jiwon said. And Yuna, make sure you get the children out first, all of them. As the communication ended, Jiwon looked back at the council chamber. Through the doors, he could see the aliens still talking and laughing. They thought they had just solved a small problem. They had no idea what they had just started. In 3 days, Earth would burn, but humanity would remember. And someday these aliens would learn what happened when you destroyed the home of a species that held grudges. Jiwon walked toward his ship, already planning. The war had begun, and the aliens had fired the first shot. Now it was humanity's turn. Captain Lee Yuna watched Earth burn from the bridge of her ship. The planet looked like a dying star, orange and red flames covering the surface where cities used to be. 4 billion people had lived down there 3 days ago. Now most of them were dead. The Vraxian mining fleet hung in space like metal vultures, waiting for the fires to stop so they could start digging. Their ships were huge and ugly, built for destroying planets and taking what they wanted. Captain, her communications officer said quietly, we are getting signals from the other evacuation ships. They want to know what to do next. Yuna did not answer right away. She kept staring at Earth, memorizing how it looked as it died. She wanted to remember this moment forever, the moment humanity learned that the galaxy had no mercy. Behind her, the bridge crew worked in silence. Most of them had family down on Earth, friends, parents, children who did not make it to the evacuation ships in time. The lucky ones died in the first bombing run. The unlucky ones were still burning. Captain? The communications officer asked again. Tell all ships to follow us to Rally Point Alpha, Yuna said. Her voice sounded dead, even to herself. And send the activation code to Commander Cho Sun-ho. The communications officer's eyes went wide. Everyone on the bridge knew what that code meant. Protocol 7 was not just an evacuation plan, it was something much bigger. Yuna's ship, the Terra's Pride, turned away from Earth and jumped into hyperspace. Behind them, 50 other human ships followed. They carried 2 million people, all that was left of humanity. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, and children. The survivors. But they were not just running away. They were going to a place the aliens knew nothing about. 3 days later, the human fleet arrived at an asteroid field that looked empty and dead. The asteroids were big chunks of rock floating in space. Nothing special about them. The Galactic Council had marked this system as worthless years ago. That was exactly what humanity wanted them to think. This is Terra's Pride calling Sanctuary Base, Yuna spoke into her communicator. We are coming home. The asteroids started to move. What looked like rocks were actually huge metal doors. They opened up like flowers blooming, showing the inside of massive space stations hidden inside the asteroids. Engineer Bei Hana's voice came over the radio, excited and proud. Welcome to humanity's real home, Captain. We have been waiting for you. Yuna smiled for the first time in 3 days. The aliens thought they had destroyed humanity. They had no idea that humans had been preparing for this betrayal for 20 years. The evacuation ships flew into the hidden bases. Inside the asteroids, Yuna saw something that made her heart race. Shipyards, hundreds of them, and ships. Not the small patrol boats that Earth used for the Galactic Council. Real warships. Big ones with guns that could crack planets open. Hana met Yuna at the docking bay. She was a small woman with oil stains on her hands and fire in her eyes. "How many did we save?" she asked. 2 million, Yuna replied. "Out of 4 billion. Hana's face went hard. "Then we make them pay for the other 3,998,000,000. They walked through the hidden base together. Everywhere Yuna looked, she saw humans working. Building ships, making weapons, growing food. This was not just a hiding place, this was a civilization ready for war. "How long have you been building this?" Yuna asked. 23 years, Hana replied. "Ever since Admiral Park's father first met the Galactic Council. He did not trust them. Neither did a lot of other people. We started small, just a few mining operations that nobody cared about. Then we got bigger. They reached a huge window that looked out into space. Yuna could see dozens of asteroid bases, all connected by hidden tunnels. Ships moved between them like worker bees in a hive. "How many people live here?" Yuna asked. 3 million, Hana said. "We have been moving humans out here for years. Families who wanted to try frontier life. Scientists who wanted to do research without alien oversight. People who just did not. Like being told what to do by giant crabs." Yuna laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "So humanity has been planning this war for decades?" "Not planning a war," Hana corrected. "Planning to survive when the aliens showed their true faces. We just did not think it would happen so soon." A new voice spoke behind them. "Actually, we knew it would happen exactly when it did." Yuna turned to see Commander Cho Sunho walking toward them. He was a thin man with gray hair and cold eyes. Before the evacuation, he had worked as a clerk in the council archives. Nobody important, nobody dangerous, that was his disguise. "Commander," Yuna said, "I sent the activation code like you asked." Sunho nodded. "Good. By now our people in alien space are starting their work." "What people?" Yuna asked. Sunho smiled, and it was not a nice smile. "For 30 years, humans have been living and working in alien cities. Married to aliens, raising half-alien children, running businesses, working in government jobs. The aliens think of them as immigrants who love alien culture. But they are not," Yuna said, understanding. "They are sleeper agents," Sunho confirmed. "Thousands of them, all across the galaxy. They have families and friends among the aliens. They know every secret, every weakness, every fear that the alien races have." Hana was grinning now. "And now that Earth is gone, they do not have to pretend to be harmless anymore." Sunho activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Red dots appeared on hundreds of worlds. "Each red dot is a team of our people. They are already starting to cause problems for the aliens. Small problems at first. Computer viruses, supply chain disruptions, accidents at important facilities. The aliens will think it is just bad luck," Yuna said. "For now," Sunho agreed. "But the problems will get bigger, and when the aliens finally realize what is happening, it will be too late." Dr. Kim Minho joined them at the window. He looked older than he had 3 days ago, like watching Earth burn had aged him years. In his hands, he carried a small device that glowed with blue light. "Is that what I think it is?" Hana asked. Minho nodded grimly. "Complete genetic profiles of every Galactic Council species. I downloaded them from the Council databases before we left. Blood samples, DNA sequences, biological weaknesses, everything." "What are you going to do with that?" Yuna asked, though she was afraid she already knew. "I am going to make weapons," Minho said simply. "Biological weapons that target specific alien races. Diseases that only kill Vraxians. Viruses that only affect Kelthans. Plagues that will make each species beg for mercy." Yuna felt cold. That is genocide. No, Minho replied, his voice like ice. Genocide is what they did to Earth. This is justice. Sunho put his hand on Yuna's shoulder. The aliens made the rules, Captain. They said might makes right. They said the strong can take whatever they want from the weak. They said sentiment and mercy are weaknesses. So we will show them what happens when humans stop being sentimental, Hana added. When we stop being merciful. Yuna looked out at the hidden fleet again. Ships built for war, not exploration. Weapons designed to kill, not defend. A civilization that had spent decades preparing to be the hunter instead of the prey. How long before we are ready? She asked. 6 months for the first wave of attacks, Sunho said. 2 years before we can challenge them directly. 5 years, before we can take their homeworlds. And then? Minho spoke up, his voice quiet but firm. Then every alien in the galaxy will know the price of burning Earth. They will know what happens when you make humanity angry. Outside the window, more ships were being built. Each one carried the hopes of a species that refused to die quietly. The aliens thought they had won by destroying Earth. They had only made humanity dangerous. 5 years had passed since Earth burned. Spymaster Oh Kyung-soo sat in his office deep inside the largest asteroid base, reading reports from across the galaxy. Each report told the same story. The aliens were scared. They had good reason to be. Kyung-soo pulled up a holographic map of the galaxy. Red warning lights blinked on hundreds of worlds. Each light represented a successful human operation. Supply convoys destroyed. Government officials assassinated. Military bases sabotaged. Research facilities burned to the ground. The Galactic Council called it terrorism. Kyung-soo called it Tuesday. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he said. Diplomat Na Soman entered the office, followed by 3 aliens. But these aliens were different from the Council races. They were smaller, weaker species that the Council had conquered long ago. "Kyung-soo, I want you to meet our new allies," Soman said with a smile. "This is Ambassador Krill from the Nixari, Captain Vesh from the Dolmar, and High Priest Zanin from the Thylon." Kyung-soo stood and bowed politely. The 3 aliens looked nervous, which was smart. They were in the heart of humanity's hidden empire, surrounded by weapons that could kill them in seconds. "Welcome to Sanctuary," Kyung-soo said. "I hope you understand what you are agreeing to." Ambassador Krill, who looked like a furry rat standing on 2 legs, spoke first. "We understand completely. The Galactic Council has oppressed our people for centuries. When we saw what humans could do to the mighty Vraxians, we knew we had found kindred spirits." Kyung-soo nodded. The Vraxians had learned the hard way not to underestimate humanity. Last month, human agents had poisoned the water supply of 3 Vraxian colonies. 10 million crab-like aliens had died in screaming agony. The Vraxian government still did not know how it happened. "What can your people offer us?" Kyung-soo asked. Captain Vesh, a lizard-like creature with scales that changed color, answered. "The Dolmar control shipping routes throughout the Outer Rim. We can move your people and supplies without the Council knowing." High Priest Zanin, tall and thin with 4 arms, spoke in a voice like wind chimes. "The Thylon have access to Council communication networks. We maintain their computer systems. We can give you their secret codes. And we ask for very little in return," Ambassador Krill added quickly. "Just help us free our worlds when you destroy the Council." Soman smiled. "I told them you would be interested." Kyung-soo was more than interested. He was impressed. In 5 years, Soman had convinced 12 minor species to join humanity's cause. Each one brought something useful to the war effort. "There is one more thing," Soman said. "Show him the data packet, Ambassador." Krill handed Kyung-soo a small device. When he plugged it into his computer, his eyes went wide. "Is this real?" "Completely real," Krill confirmed. "The Council's military deployment schedules for the next 6 months. Troop movements, supply lines, patrol routes, everything." Kyung-soo grinned. This information was worth more than gold. With it, humanity could hit the Council where they were weakest. After the aliens left, Kyung-soo called an emergency meeting. Within an hour, the War Council was assembled in the main conference room. Admiral Park Ji-won looked older now, with gray hair and lines around his eyes. 5 years of guerrilla warfare had worn on him, but his determination burned brighter than ever. Captain Lee Yuna had been promoted to admiral as well. She commanded humanity's growing fleet of warships, hidden in asteroid fields throughout the galaxy. Dr. Kim Min-ho still worked on his biological weapons, but now he had help. Alien scientists from the conquered species, people who knew their former master's weaknesses better than anyone. Engineer Bei Hana had expanded her shipyards. Human warships now outnumbered council vessels 3-1, though the aliens did not know it yet. Commander Cho Soon-ho ran the largest spy network in galactic history. His agents operated on every council world, sometimes in the highest levels of government. Report, Ji-won said simply. Kyung-soo activated the holographic display. Our new allies have given us complete intelligence on council military operations. We now know where every major fleet will be for the next 6 months. Outstanding, Yuna said. When do we hit them? Soon, Kyung-soo replied. But first let me show you what our agents have accomplished. The display changed to show a Kelthan world called Verdania. It had been a beautiful planet covered in forests and crystal cities. Now it was a wasteland of ash and dead trees. What happened there? Hana asked. Minho spoke up, his voice emotionless. I created a virus that targets Kelthan plant biology. Our agents released it into their atmospheric processors 6 months ago. Every plant on the planet died within weeks. How many Kelthans died? Ji-won asked. All of them. 2 billion, Minho replied. They could not survive without their symbiotic plants. The room fell silent. Even after 5 years of war, the scale of their revenge sometimes shocked them. Any word from the council about peace talks? Soman asked. Soon-ho laughed bitterly. They still think this is just random terrorism. They have no idea we are behind it all. The Vraxians blame the Kelthans. The Kelthans blame the Zephirites. The council is tearing itself apart trying to find an enemy that does not exist. Because they cannot imagine that weak little humanity could do this to them, Yuna added. Kyung-soo nodded. Exactly. They are so arrogant. They cannot see the truth even when it kills them. Ji-won stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the construction yards where new ships were being built. Each ship was bigger and deadlier than anything the council possessed. How many council species are left, he asked. 8, Sun-ho replied. We have eliminated 4 completely. The others are severely weakened. And our strength? Hana answered with pride. 5 million humans now live in the asteroid bases. Our fleet consists of 3,000 warships. We have allies among 15 conquered species, and our agents operate on every council world. Ji-won nodded slowly. Then it is time for the next phase. He turned back to face the War Council. For 5 years we have fought in the shadows. We have made the aliens afraid to leave their homes. We have shown them that their great council cannot protect them from human vengeance. But they still do not know who their enemy is, Kyung-soo said. That ends now, Ji-won declared. It is time for the galaxy to learn that humanity is not dead. It is time for open war. Yuna smiled coldly. The aliens wanted to mine Earth's minerals. Let's give them something to mine. Minho held up a vial of green liquid. This is my latest creation, a plague that targets the nervous systems of all council species. I call it Earthfall. Poetic, Hana said. When do we deploy it? We do not, Ji-won said, surprising everyone. Not yet. First, we make them an offer. What kind of offer? Soman asked. Ji-won smiled, and it was the smile of a predator. The same offer they made us 5 years ago. We give them 72 hours to evacuate their homeworlds. After that, we take them. And when they refuse? Soon-ho asked. Then they learn why it was a mistake to make humanity angry, Ji-won replied. The War Council looked at each other. For 5 years they had struck from the shadows like ghosts. Now they would reveal themselves as the monsters the aliens had created. The galaxy was about to discover that burning Earth had consequences, and those consequences had sharp teeth. General Yoon Tae-hyung stood on the bridge of the human dreadnought Earthbreaker, watching the Vraxian homeworld grow larger on the screen. The planet looked like a giant red crab shell floating in space, covered in metal cities and mining platforms. Soon, it would look like Earth had looked 5 years ago. Burning. General, his communications officer reported. The Vraxian government is sending another surrender offer. Put it on screen, Tae-hyung ordered. The face of Supreme Claw Thector appeared on the display. The same alien who had voted to destroy, Earth was now begging for mercy. His once proud claws shook with fear. General Tae-hyung, Thector said desperately, we offer complete surrender. We will give you anything you want. Just spare our people. Tae-hyung studied the alien's face for a moment. You had your chance for mercy. 72 hours, just like you gave us. That time is up. Please, we were wrong to take Earth. We admit. Our mistake. Mistake? Tae-hyung repeated coldly. You called it reallocation. You said humans were expendable. You said we would adapt. We were fools, Thector pleaded. We underestimated humanity. We will make any payment you demand. Tae-hyung smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You already made your payment when you taught us that mercy is weakness. Now we will teach you what strength looks like. He cut the transmission and turned to his weapons officer. Captain Shin Jun, are your pilots ready? Jun was a small woman with scars on her face from countless battles. She commanded humanity's most elite fighter squadron, pilots who had learned to fight without fear of death. My squadrons are in position, General. We are ready to give the crabs a proper funeral. Begin the bombardment, Tae-hyung ordered. The Earthbreaker's massive guns opened fire. Beams of pure energy lanced down at the planet below, turning cities into molten glass. Other human ships joined the attack, their weapons designed for one purpose, to break worlds. But this was not just about destroying another planet. This was about sending a message to the galaxy. Sir, the sensor officer called out, Vraxian defense fleet is approaching. 37 heavy cruisers. Only 37? Tae-hyung asked. They used to have over 300 ships. We have been busy, Jun replied with a grin. For the past year, human agents had been sabotaging Vraxian military assets. Ships had exploded in dock. Ammunition had turned out to be bombs. Commanding officers had died of mysterious illnesses. Now the once mighty Vraxian fleet was a shadow of its former self. Jun, show them how humans fight, Tae-hyung said. Captain Shin-jun launched from the Earthbreaker in her fighter, followed by her squadron of 50 pilots. They flew straight at the Vraxian fleet, not bothering to dodge or hide. The aliens expected humans to fight like they did, with careful tactics and self-preservation. They were wrong. Jun's fighters crashed into the Vraxian ships like meteors. Some pilots rammed their small fighters directly into the alien cruisers, turning themselves into guided missiles. Others flew so close to the enemy guns that the aliens could not target them without hitting their own ships. This is Jun to all pilots, she called over the radio. Remember Earth. Show them what happens when you kill our families. One by one, the Vraxian ships exploded. The aliens had better weapons and stronger shields, but they fought to survive. Humans fought to kill, even if it meant dying. Within an hour, the Vraxian fleet was destroyed. The cost was high. Half of Jun's pilots were dead. But the aliens learned something important that day. Humans did not value their own lives more than their revenge. On the planet below, Vraxian cities burned. But Tae-hyung was not done. He opened a communication channel to the entire galaxy, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is General Yoon Tae-hyung of the Human Coalition, he announced. 5 years ago, the Galactic Council voted to destroy our homeworld. They said we were weak. They said we would adapt. The broadcast reached every inhabited world in the galaxy. Billions of aliens watched as another Vraxian city turned to ash. We have adapted, Tae-hyung continued. We adapted to living without mercy. We adapted to fighting without honor. We adapted to killing without hesitation. On cue, Dr. Kim Min-ho's biological weapons were released into the Vraxian atmosphere. Within minutes, Every Vraxian on the planet began to die. Not quickly, but slowly and painfully. The Vraxian species chose extinction when they voted to burn Earth, Taehyung said as the aliens below screamed. Today they receive what they chose. The broadcast switched to show other human fleets attacking other council worlds. The Kelthan homeworld was being consumed by engineered plagues. Zephyrite, gas cities were exploding one by one. The galaxy's most powerful species were being systematically exterminated. We offered the council the same mercy they showed us. Taehyung continued. 72 hours to evacuate. They refused, just as we knew they would. Because the council cannot imagine that their victims might become their executioners. Admiral Park Ji-won's voice joined the broadcast from another ship. For 30 years, humanity served the Galactic Council faithfully. We gave you our resources, our technology, our loyalty. And when you no longer needed us, you tried to throw us away. Admiral Lee Yuna's voice came from a third fleet. You forgot that humans remember everything. Every insult, every betrayal, every drop of innocent blood. We remember it all. The broadcast showed human ships appearing throughout Council space. They had been hiding in the dark between stars, waiting for this moment. Now they revealed themselves in all their terrible glory. 3,000 human warships, each one designed to kill aliens and break their worlds. The Galactic Council is hereby dissolved, Taehyung announced. Any alien government that wishes to survive will surrender immediately and accept human authority. On the screen, they could see alien news, broadcasts from across the galaxy. Panic filled every alien city as populations realized what was happening. The humans were not just attacking military targets, they were ending entire civilizations. Some of you are asking why we do not show mercy, Ji-won's voice continued. The answer is simple. You taught us that mercy is for the weak. You taught us that the strong take what they want. You taught us that sentiment is a weakness. Another Vraxian city died as Minho's plague spread. The aliens below had stopped screaming. There was no one left to scream. We learned your lessons well. Yuna added, perhaps too well. The broadcast ended with a simple message displayed in every alien language. This is what happens when you burn the home world of a species that holds grudges. Taehyung turned to his crew. Status report. Vraxian homeworld is completely sterilized, the weapons officer reported. No life signs remaining. Good. Move us to the next target. As the human fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace, Taehyung looked back at the dead world behind them. 4 billion Vraxians had lived there that morning. Now it was just another tomb, like Earth had been. But unlike Earth, this world would not be mourned. No one would build memorials for the Vraxians. No one would remember their culture or their history. They would simply be forgotten, as if they had never existed at all. That was the price of making humanity angry. Not just death, but complete erasure from the galaxy's memory, and the war was just beginning. President Im Do-yoon walked through the ruins of the old Galactic Council chamber. His footsteps echoed in the empty halls where 12 alien species once ruled the galaxy. Now only broken stone and melted metal remained. Behind him followed Admiral Kang Minji, who had taken over military operations after General Taehyung died in the final battle for the Zephyrite homeworld. She was younger than the previous commanders, but her eyes held the same cold fire that burned in all human survivors. How many are left? Do-hyun asked as they reached the central chamber. The final count is complete, Minji replied, checking her tablet. Of the original 12 council species, only 2 survive, the Kalari and the Benthos. Total population, approximately 50 million across both species. Do-hyun nodded. Out of the trillions of aliens who had once dominated the galaxy, only 50 million remained. The rest had been systematically eliminated over the past 10 years of war. What about our former allies, he asked. The minor species that helped us are doing well, Minji reported. We have given them independence and protection as promised. The Nexari now control their original territories. The Dolmar have expanded their shipping networks. The Thylin have established their own religious state. Good. We keep our promises to friends. They reached the spot where the council speaker's podium once stood. Now it was just a crater in the floor, filled with ash and broken dreams. Do-hyun remembered watching recordings of this place, back when humanity still believed in cooperation and peace. That felt like a lifetime ago. "Sir," Minji said, "we are receiving surrender broadcasts from the remaining Kalari and Benthos governments. They are offering complete submission to human authority." Do-hyun smiled, but it was not a happy expression. "The same terms we offered the council 10 years ago. Identical. Total surrender, war reparations, and acceptance of human governance. And unlike the council, they are smart enough to accept." A new voice spoke from behind them. "The smart ones died years ago." They turned to see Spy Master Oh Kyung-soo approaching. He looked tired, which made sense. For 10 years he had coordinated the largest intelligence operation in galactic history. His agents had infiltrated every alien government, every military organization, every research facility. They had done their job too well. "The final phase is complete," Kyung-soo reported. "Every council leader, every military commander, every scientist who worked on anti-human weapons, all eliminated." "How many total?" Do-hyun asked. "Across all species?" "Approximately 200 million individuals. Politicians, generals, weapons designers, propaganda creators, anyone who participated in or supported the decision to destroy Earth." Do-hyun felt a moment of something that might have been regret. 200 million people, killed not in battle but through careful assassination. Then he remembered the 4 billion humans who had burned when Earth died, and the feeling passed. "What about their families?" he asked. "We followed the Nuremberg protocols," Kyung-soo replied. "Children under the age of majority were spared. Adults who actively opposed the anti-human policies were spared. Everyone else," he shrugged. "Everyone else had died. Slowly, painfully, and completely." Dr. Kim Min-ho joined them in the ruined chamber. He carried a small case that contained samples of his biological weapons. 10 years of research had made him the galaxy's greatest expert on alien biology. He could create diseases that killed specific individuals based on their genetic markers. "The sterilization protocols are complete," he reported in his emotionless voice. "All council species are now genetically incapable of reproduction. Their populations will die out naturally over the next 50 years. "Even the survivors?" Minji asked. "Especially the survivors. I want them to watch their species slowly die out, knowing they can do nothing to stop it. Just like we watched Earth burn." Diplomat Na Soman approached from another entrance to the chamber. She had spent the last year negotiating with the surviving alien governments, setting up the new galactic order. "The treaties are ready for your signature, Mr. President," she said, offering him a tablet. "The new human galactic republic is officially recognized by all surviving species." Do-hyun read through the documents quickly. They were thorough. Humanity now controlled all major trade routes, all advanced technology, all military forces. The surviving aliens were essentially pets, allowed to exist only because humans permitted it. "What about the memorial?" he asked. Soman smiled. "Construction is complete. Would you like to see it?" They walked outside the ruined council building to a vast plaza that had been completely rebuilt. In the center stood a massive black wall, 10 stories tall and stretching for kilometers in both directions. Carved into the black stone were names. Millions and millions of names. Every human who died when Earth burned, someone explained. "We recovered the names from evacuation records, census data, school registries, hospital files. 4,732,456,298 individuals." Do-hyun walked closer to the wall. The names were carved small but deep, covering every inch of the black stone. Children who never got to grow up. Parents who died protecting their families. Teachers, doctors, artists, farmers. People who had trusted the galaxy to be fair and merciful. At the bottom of the wall was a simple inscription in every human language. "They taught us that mercy is weakness. We learned the lesson well." "And on the other side?" Do-hyun asked. They walked around the memorial to see the back of the wall. Here, carved in letters 10 feet tall, was a different message. Never again. Perfect, Do-hyun said softly. Admiral Minji spoke up. Sir, there is one more matter. The surviving aliens are asking about rebuilding. They want to know if they can start colonies on unoccupied worlds. Do-hyun considered this. What do you think, Admiral? I think they can rebuild, Minji replied. Under human supervision, with human governors, following human laws. And if they refuse? Minji's smile was sharp as a blade. Then they join their former masters in extinction. Kyung-soo nodded approvingly. The galaxy understands the new rules now. Humans are in charge. Anyone who objects can discuss it with Dr. Minho's biological weapons. Engineer Bae Hana appeared, having just arrived from the orbital shipyards. Mr. President, the new fleet is ready for deployment. 300 exploration ships, each one carrying human colonists to establish settlements on former council worlds. Good, Do-hyun said. Begin the expansion immediately. I want human cities on every habitable world within 5 years. What should we do with the alien ruins? Hana asked. Leave them, Do-hyun decided. Let them stand as reminders of what happens to species that threaten humanity. As the sun set over the ruins of the Galactic Council, the human leadership stood together, in silence. They had achieved something that no other species in galactic history had managed. They had gone from near extinction to absolute dominance in just 10 years. But the victory felt hollow. Earth was still gone. 4 billion humans were still dead. No amount of alien blood could bring them back. Do you think we went too far? Soman asked quietly. Do-hyun looked at the memorial wall, at the endless list of names carved in black stone. The aliens made the rules, he said finally. They said the strong could take whatever they wanted from the weak. They said mercy was for fools. And now? Minji asked. Now they know what it feels like to be weak, Do-hyun replied. Now they know what it means to beg for mercy from someone who has none to give. Kyung-soo checked his communicator. Sir, we are receiving the final surrender from the Benthos government. They are offering to serve as subjects of the Human Republic. Accept their surrender, Do-hyun ordered. But make sure they understand the terms. They live only as long as humans allow it. They exist only to serve human interests. And if they ever forget their place, they will remember what happened to the others, Minji finished. As night fell over the former capital of the Galactic Council, humanity stood victorious among the ruins of their enemies. The galaxy belonged to them now, every star and every world. The aliens who remained alive did so only because humans permitted it. The species that had once been considered weak and expendable now ruled over all others with absolute authority. They had learned the galaxy's lessons about power and mercy. They had learned them too well, and they would never forget them.